Hey, we are here and we are live. Thank you so much for being here, David. It's great to meet you.
Thanks,
For
Anna.
Yeah. And for those of you that are watching and joining us, please go ahead and introduce yourselves to one another in the chat. And when you have questions for David or I, please feel free to put that in the chat. I'm going to do my best to try and monitor some of that as we go along and keep track of what's going on. So super excited to see this happening. So David, you and I met. Do you remember how we met?
So I keep track of who signs up for Teal. It's, right now it's a little tougher. Luckily, more people are signing up. But I saw, at Career Sherpa as someone who signed up, and I said, "Wait a second." And I had been following your work, and then I reached out, and you very graciously responded, and then we started to have conversations. I think we hopped on a Zoom, and we talked about how we could help more job seekers, and how mission aligned we were, and we've sort of stayed in touch since then.
Yeah. And so that is why LinkedIn rocks, right? Because we didn't know each other, but through the miracle of technology, we were able to connect and find each other's email addresses. And, for the average job seeker or somebody who's looking to build out their business, it's all about partnerships and alliances and meeting new people. And it's so super simple to do these days, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's also looking at it through the lens of opportunity instead of the lens of like obligation. I talk to a lot of people and they're like, "Do I have to be on LinkedIn?" It's like, look, you don't have to do anything. But if you do, it can actually be quite fruitful. And I think people were like, "Oh, do I have to post every day?" It's like, look, absolutely not. But at least like engage enough. It depends on what your objectives are. I tell people all these things are tools. Like, don't get mad at the hammer. Just like choose to use it or not. But like, don't be mad at it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to give a quick shout out to some of the people that are here. We've got Joe, we've got Jerry, we've got Lamar, Azra. We've got some people from Birmingham, Duncan. Hi, Jim Peacock. All of my friends are here. That's great. Oh, and there's Bernadette. Hey, Bernadette. Awesome. Wonderful to see people. What I want to do is give people an understanding of what Teal is and what it can do for you. So start with a high level overview of how you define Teal and what you use it for. And we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so it came about when I was at WeWork. I was an executive there, and I ran a large organization on 4,000 people. And when I was leaving, as a fairly well resourced like individual, I still felt, I'd say in a very acute way, the infrastructural disparity between a company and me. And they didn't do anything to make me feel bad. They were quite gracious, but it's just like all these anxieties I had. And they've got an HR department, they've got a legal department, they got a finance department, and I have like some money to pay a lawyer in Google. And then I started to think about like everyone else. And I was like, this just makes no sense. So I said, what if there could be this like infrastructure that was like an HR department for everyone, that they could go and answer any kind of career questions, in the promise and utopian version of what HR could be. If I want to know what my comp should be, if I want to know if I can take leave, if I want to know, because if I go to HR, then it's documented. And I was like, but that doesn't exist. And career advice is generally gone to like relatives who give really bad career advice because they give you like the most, sort of risk managed version. And they're not going to really lean in and say, look, this is you deserve to be happy. Go make that high risk decision that's going to charge you up for the rest of your life. Like, don't leave that high paying job that you're miserable at because, hey, it's a steady paycheck. That's, and I was like, this is broken. And we've got apps for everything. We've got apps for our finance. We've got apps for our mental health. We've got apps for our physical health, for our eating. But I was like, for the career, the thing that underpins it all comes from HR. There's like nothing that's consumer oriented. So that was kind of our high level. That was like my aha moment. I wanted to tackle that problem. Obviously, everyone here knows careers are complicated and long, and there's very episodic. So I said, what's the right moment that we can engage with people when they're ready to receive something that can help them change their way? And we said, that's job search, right? When it's like people are like looking for a fix. In the software world, they talk about like looking for an Advil versus a vitamin. And, so I said, let's focus on job search. And so that's what we are today, is really a combination of like HubSpot and Waze for job searching. And we help people manage the process, really like take a lot of the uncertainty about it out, all the stuff you're keeping in your head. And we're very focused on job search. I would say today we're focused on what I'd call like job searching for folks that know what they want to do. Right. Job searching for a pivoter is very different, and the things that they need to address are very different. But we're focused on, really helping them run a highly effective job search.
And we're going to talk about some of the ways you do that. But let me also ask you, is there a specific audience or type of job seeker besides somebody who sort of knows what they want to do? Is there an industry that you tend to focus in on more than others?
So our tools are honestly pretty industry agnostic. I would say if you're job searching on LinkedIn, we're for you. So that tends to lead to like more, office jobs. If you're job searching on like Monster, then maybe Indeed is somewhere in the middle. Like our tools are fine. But even some of the embedded guidance we have and the way that you would approach your resume and things like that are probably more for someone who works in an office. Eventually we want to serve everyone, but just given our limited resources, I'd say if you're job searching on LinkedIn, there's probably like our tools probably work well for you.
Okay. So tell me about some of the cool parts of Teal that everybody here needs to know about if they don't already.
So, a lot of job seekers might make like a spreadsheet or a tracker, because what gets measured gets managed. I'm a firm believer of that. But getting it in there is a lot of work. And so what we started with was this Chrome extension to make it really easy to just ingest jobs into one place. I'm also a firm believer that people should use many, many job boards because at the end of the day, each job board just has the jobs that a company paid to post there. Unless it's like Google that like scrapes a bunch, but you really need to go to a lot of job boards and you want a consistent interface. And so we've made it really, really easy for people to source jobs, go to almost any job board, bring them all to one place, have them all measured in this, sort of see them all in the same way. We automatically pull the keywords for you, and then we can start to guide you through the various stages and phases of the job search. So you can track what's in what stage, even just like naming your stages. We've just sort of prescribed a set so people don't have to think about it, all those kinds of things. So we've kind of got an opinionated approach. But oftentimes people get stuck making the tracker in Google Sheets. It's like, look, just don't worry about that. And so that's, I'd say, like number one, our like keystone product. And then it's really a suite. So we've got a bunch of other things. You can then do that same thing for contacts, for companies. We've got, I'd say, the early versions of a resume builder that we're really excited about that takes a new approach to making resumes. I think the resume is fine. Everyone wants to say the resume is dead. I think it's a perfectly fine object. I think the way we manage multiple versions of them is a little broken. And so we're trying to like add some automation there and make that easier for people.
I heard somebody talk about one day creating, and maybe you can get in on this. Like, how when you apply for college, there's the Common App.
Yeah.
Why can't companies all embrace the Common App? Wouldn't that be great?
So, I mean, I can get into a more like economic, philosophical discussion on why I don't think they will do that. But we can. And so we are working on that. And like core to it is having a like career profile that is additive and you continue to add to, and we can algorithmically select the pieces of you that are relevant for that job. I think that's one of the core things that people don't get with job searching is there's this tension between like how much time I have and what the company expects. And it becomes this like bizarre adversarial discussion. It's like, why do I have to customize my resume? It's like,
Right.
You don't have to. Again, you don't have to do anything, but a company has put out a very specific request for what they are expecting of somebody. The more you answer that request specifically, the higher chances are that you're going to get called in for an interview. And people just don't have the time to do it. So they kind of resent that they need to. But anyone that's ever done sales in their life knows that you can't just go give everyone the same pitch. You got to tailor your pitch to the client. And so I think if someone has like an exhaustive profile, then technology can just pick the parts that are relevant and do some of that curation in an automated way.
That would be a huge time saver. Yeah.
So that's what we're focused on. And then you can like peel different things off of it, right? You can make a resume from it. You can apply to a job with it. You can update your LinkedIn with it. There's all sorts of different cool things you can do with that. And that's kind of our approach.
So what else is going on with Teal? So we've got the the tracker. We've got the whatever the resume thing is in the
We've got, like,
works,
the
but
context tracker, the resume. We also have a personality assessment that's modeled off of a 2-factor system or a 4-quadrant, kind of like DISC, which I can get into that and kind of how they're all modeled off that. But it's really simple. It's 16 questions, kind of fun. Everyone loves the results. We've got that. We're going to work now. That's us starting to focus more on pivoters. And then we've got a bunch of content. One of the things we've seen, regardless of tooling, you can have all the cool tools in the world, but you can, I'd say the hardest thing mentally with job searching is that you can do anything, right? Very few people have like an acute external deadline. So every morning they wake up and they say, what could I do? I could network, I could job search, I could work on my resume. And they end up doing the things that feel like gives them the most control, or like they feel like they're productive, but then it could lead to like hamster on the wheel. So we've created a series of different like guides, like 10-day guides. Every morning you wake up, it's in your inbox, and here's some things you could do. And really the focus is to get people into a routine, habit building some momentum. We've done various versions of them. We've done one that was like how to break into startups. We did one that was, jumpstart or my career growth. And so the one that we've got running right now is basically like apply to 10 jobs in 10 days, which, objectively is not awesome advice, but it's just to get them going, right?
get the
Those
momentum going.
applications. And then, then tailor a little more and stuff like that. But sometimes, people get really wrapped up on quality and having the perfect resume and then finding the perfect job. So it's really just like push them to get them going and get like their funnel expanding. And so that's running. We launched that when we started to have these like kind of new rounds of layoffs, and we said, what could we do that could help people? Because really what people need is accountability and structure. And then it kind of guides them to use the right tool at the right time. But it's really about that accountability and structure.
And I know all about the need for job seekers to have accountability, because it's true for anybody that's working from home. Like, you don't have a schedule, you don't have a routine, you don't know really what you're supposed to be doing in the first place. So in the absence of all of that stuff, people are just sort of making up stuff, and it doesn't always become productive. And people feel like they're just spinning their wheels and all that stuff. So I love the fact that you're sort of dishing things out to people in chunks that they can eat away at, right?
Yeah, it's one of like my first principles as I design most of our software right now. If anyone knows a designer that wants to join, I would love to work with one. But is every morning when I wake up and I look at my computer and I'm thinking about my job search, Teal should know more than me what I should focus on, right? So if there's 30 jobs in my tracker that haven't been moved to the applied phase, I'm going to say, hey, stop bookmarking jobs. Like, let's get some of these into the apply phase, right? Before you get that culled down to 10, stop doing that, right? And so, because people just, again, find ways to keep themselves busy, feel like they're productive and making progress, but at the end of the day, they're not, because you got to get applications out, right? Interviews you can't control, but until you get applications out, you can't get feedback on, whether the company gives you feedback or not. But if you send out 30 and get no interviews, all right, well, something's wrong.
Right.
Right.
It's with the
And so,
resume, right? In the application process.
just like really pushing people to get applications out and take control of the things that they control. And then even based off that, implicitly or explicitly, they can start to get some feedback based on the data that they're putting out there. Brianna, I'm looking for a UX designer or a product designer to really focus on the product. So not a brand designer or not like a graphic designer. And all these terms I think are kind of mishmashed. But very, very focused on the product. I have a visitor for our session today.
Hey, how are you?
Someone stayed home from school sick today, but she's actually feeling pretty good.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm doing
Help
a webinar.
your dad out. He needs a designer.
She's a really good artist. Okay, can I finish doing this presentation to some folks? Okay, I'll be done in a few minutes.
So I've got another question from my friend Alex Freund. Hi, Alex. So good to see you. What are the 3 top benefits for people using Teal?
So saving time. Copying and pasting all this stuff into like an Excel tracker just takes a lot of time away from like more productive things. So saving time, increasing your quality. We automate a ton of things. So we automatically highlight the keywords in a JD. Soon enough, we will compare it to a resume for you. We don't do that today, but it allows you to quickly scan a JD and just see
Job
like what are the
description,
job
JD.
description. Sorry,
That's
sorry.
okay.
Thank you. Uh, um, and and then you just don't have to keep it on. Like honestly, what we hear from people is like, this just brought me sanity. I didn't have to keep track of all this stuff in my head. You know, what did I apply to this job? So it keeps them on pace, gives them structure, and gives them continuity.
Great. Awesome. And I'm just going to share this, Gail. Thanks. If there's a free virtual, there are lots of virtual and free accountability groups out there. One is through the Career Network Ministry. So if you Google Career Network Ministry, you can find that. But there are, we call them job clubs, or we call them networking groups for job seekers. And there are literally thousands of them all over the country. And because we are now all virtual, it's a great resource to be able to tap into some of them. Some may just offer, ask for a small donation or small fee. So thanks for sharing that, Gail. Okay, so what else do you want to show us? Can you share
Yeah, I
some
can
of this
show
stuff?
a little bit. One thing I didn't say that I forget is it's all 100% free. Like none of this is paid. It's 100% free. The way we make money is it's ad supported. So you'll see ads to like Coursera, because what we've seen is people take a lot of courses and learn to like infill gaps on skills that they might have for jobs. So that's how we make our money. And over time, we will make that even more relevant. So if I'm applying to like a marketing job and I'm transitioning from product management, we will show you classes to help you land that job. So the goal is to get highly, highly aligned. And kind of our one sort of tenant when it comes to the business model for now is that we do not get paid by employers to help them source candidates. Ultimately, we want people to find fulfilling jobs. We don't want to be motivated by whatever it takes to make a company land more talent. That's just not where we are. And that's what we see as the big gap in the market. But it's all 100% free. So any of the job search groups, if anyone runs any job search groups and they see the candidates need some help, we're 100% free and feel free to pass it along. But yeah, I can show what we've got going on.
Okay.
So wait, let me share my screen again. And there we go. And you bring me up on stage. Okay, cool. So we're on LinkedIn. We're using our testing Teal member. Her name's Tina Miller, TM. And one thing we have that's like super light and simple is like right here, she can audit her LinkedIn profile. We've got some like basic guidance. The extension's installed, so that's why you're seeing this little T here. I can move it around if it gets in the way. She's got no banner. We give her some feedback on that, prompt and edit the banner. So the idea is to be this kind of like virtual guide that's helping you with really light stuff. If you need a coach to really do the bigger things, and that's actually one of the ways that we're looking to monetize is maybe source leads for coaches and things like that. But as Tina is job searching, she's got her jobs, looking at different jobs. She can bookmark it, and we automatically pull in the top 5 skills that we found in the job description. She can rate it if she's excited. She can bookmark the job, and then she can go and see her bookmarked jobs. That brings her over to the Teal platform. And now you can see the job. We check if it's online because jobs go offline. So we check it every day for you. You got the link to the original job post. You can put in some salary data. You have the JD, right? No one copies all this stuff into the spreadsheet. They just put like the company, the link, just takes too much time. So that pulls it all in. If you want to start to take notes on the job, you can do that here. You want to start to attach contacts. We've got a checklist for the whole job search. And then we also have email templates. We do them by phase. So when I move this job over to the applying phase, now if you want to ask for a referral, we've got these email templates embedded, and we start to give guidance right within the job tracker. So, one of the best ways to get in is to see if you know somebody that works at the company. So here, this is check to see if you know someone that works at Group M, which is the company. And then that just takes you to a pre-populated search result. It defaults to first degree connections. Tina has 0 connections. So, here, now you can see people, and maybe this is a person I don't know. I'm not going to connect with them, but I can bookmark them on Teal, and I can set some intentionality. I don't know them. My goal is to set up an informational interview to contact them. I can save the contact, and now that goes back to Teal just the same way. We pull in the whole profile for you. So now you can have things to kind of have the conversation.
So it becomes a little bit like a CRM.
It's like a full-on CRM. Oh, it was just loaded. I've bookmarked too many contacts. Yeah, so now I can also take notes on this person. I can have a link. We actually try to guess their email for you based on a service we use to enrich it. And then if you're connected, we pull in everything. But you can see all their companies in one view. This is like a really nice way to synthesize their whole career history, like all their titles in one view instead of needing to look at it all. We pull in their skills. So you can use all that, like one if you're doing like career research to see how other people have done it. Or if you want talking points for when you do eventually meet with this person. So you can do that. And then we guide you along the way. If you want to ask for an intro, here's the content. If you want to learn about how to run an informational interview, we've got like videos on how to do that. And so, every step of the way as you sort of work your way through, we give you tips, and then you've got a dashboard to track your whole progress. So, if I want to see if I set a goal of how many applications a week, it tells me my progress. It tells me what job I should focus on next because it's 60% complete. That means getting it out to application. And so there's a bunch of really cool things in here. The way that we do our resume builder, I think, is also quite cool. We have this idea of a career profile where you put in sort of all your achievements you've ever done, the various versions of your blurb. And the idea here is to be as exhaustive as possible. And then from this, you can create a resume. And the idea being that managing multiple versions of your resume is time consuming and takes a lot of work. So now if you want to say, okay, this job, I want to include this achievement, and this achievement, but the others, I just want to keep in the sort of main resume, I can do that. And so you can quickly make these. These eventually will be tailored directly to the JD. We will even recommend which achievements you should include based on your JD. We've got 3 simple styles for now. We've really focused on the content.
Yeah.
And as an example, we've got this little achievement wizard to help you almost like in a Mad Libs way, structure your achievements with the verbs and the way to structure a metric. So it's really helping people and guiding people on a lot of best practices. Ultimately, they got to do it. And that's kind of one of our core beliefs is they've got to own it and sort of run the process themselves. But yeah, that gives you a high level of what's in here. There's some other cool tools, personality test, but I think you guys get the idea.
So yeah, what I'm hearing too is like, this is awesome.
Oh yeah, you can take my screen off stage. Sorry.
I'll take it. I'll take it out. Holy smokes, that's awesome. This is awesome. Thank you for sharing the link, Rita. Good to see them in action. I think that makes a huge difference. Can't wait to dive in. Great, John. Right, this looks powerful. Yeah, it does look powerful. Does Teal import LinkedIn messages with your contact when it pulls it into the profile?
It doesn't. There's some cool tools that do that. There's like there's Phantom Buster, there's Do Soup or Duck Soup, DUEX. We don't do any of that right now. People have talked about it. We're very. It doesn't, but I would love, you can email me. I'm dave@tealhq.com if you want to sort of talk through some ideas of how you think that could be helpful. I'd love to hear. But today it doesn't. We do want to integrate with email eventually. One of our goals is to be like as passive as possible. Like as people take action in their regular lives, what could we be scooping from that to help them? So if a company emails you back and says, hey, we want to do an interview, like, is there a world, like, we know that, like, the travel sites do it, so could we do that somehow? Those are complicated, but those are, I'd say, like, longer term goals of ours.
I just want to make sure you're seeing some of this feedback, David, because it's awesome, right?
Yeah, this is great. I'm so happy.
This is exactly why David created this tool. This is exactly why, and here's the deal. David has talked to a lot of career coaches, and he is working collaboratively to make sure that the statuses that are and the options that he's giving in this tool work for people. So he's not just like all doing this on his own, right? He's working with people to help them.
Yeah, one of the functionalities we want to add, if anyone has ideas, is to be able to invite your coach. Because we've had that. I had someone ask me, it's like, oh, my parents want to see my progress, and so being able to invite. Ultimately, they ended up giving them their credentials, but we want to add that functionality so that you can get some accountability. Or as a coach, you could have multiple clients in there. Eventually, have like a dashboard of all your clients, so you could nudge them and help them. Maybe add a job for them. So we're really focusing on like bolstering our partnership program with coaches. And we do actually have like an affiliate program for coaches now up and running. So very happy to have that conversation with anyone who's a coach and could see this being helpful.
And wants to know how you came up with the name.
So I'm trying to give you the short version. Was looking for something that was one, general and not too functional, because I knew that I was going to focus on the career, but I didn't want like resume builder, or something, because we wanted to see where we go. And then something that represented growth, prosperity, movement. So I like the color green. I was like, oh, green could work. It's going to have like automatic brand. So I went to the word hazel because I liked it. But it's also, it was gendered, and like maybe we were going to do an AI bot. But I was thinking about the color, but it could be gendered. And it's like, well, I'm tired of all these like bots being named after women. So let's like not do that. That's not great. And also even like green brown is hazel, which is like down. And so green blue. So I started to search for other colors, other versions of green, and teal came. And just also I think like it sort of came out of the mouth well. It's just like a pleasant color. No one's like mad at teal. Um, you know? And so yeah, just like stuck, and I tried a bunch of different things, but that's where the name came from. Really something that meant like momentum, movement. And we thought it sort of checked all the boxes.
Yeah, that's a great thing. So I'm just sharing, if you don't follow David or you don't follow Teal on LinkedIn, I'm sharing both of those pieces of information, because part of this is, if we like what we're seeing from Teal, I think that there are other job seekers that would benefit too. We can't keep Teal a secret. When you find something that works for you, you need to share that to help other job seekers. And so part of me is hoping that we can do that. We've got like a couple minutes left. Is there one success story, David, that sort of jumps out at you, a customer that sort of provided you feedback?
Yeah, I just had this testimonial come in about a week ago. It was a person who was working in the construction industry, kind of like a project manager, a little more senior position. And their exact words were, I've been job searching for 3 months with almost no success. And in a span of 2 weeks, I've got, 3 job offers. I can't take all the credit for that. I'm sure some of that stuff was that like came in early, because they were doing the work, and sometimes it takes a little while. You plant the seeds and the sprouts come later. But just like their sense of confidence and control in the process. And that's what we consistently hear. It's just like it took away a lot of the stress. It took away a lot of the anxiety. I had everything in one place. It was tracked, and I just felt so much more managed in this very like rudderless time in my life.
That's awesome. It's a powerful stuff. And I think that so often people do feel lost. They feel confused. They feel alone. And just knowing that there's an app that has some help there for you, that you don't have to figure it out all on your own, is wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to just do a quick look here and see what else we got going on. I just want to give a heads up too that next Tuesday, Sarah Johnston is going to be talking about a tool that she has discovered and has done some research to help job seekers understand how to research organizational structure and how that is helpful. So thank you, David. Everybody, Teal. HQ.com, go and tell your friends about it. I'm excited, and it's been awesome having you be a part of the show, being able to give us a little quick tour of how powerful this is. And it helps, right? You don't have to try and figure all this stuff out yourself.
yeah, if we can be helpful in any way, let us know. If you've got feedback, thoughts, please reach out anytime. We are fully aligned to just try to help people be in jobs they love.
Awesome. Thank you
Thanks
so
so much
much
for having me,
today,
Hannah. I
David.
really appreciate the invite, and thanks for everyone for all the great questions.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.